Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Alejandra Montante. I go by Alex, and I am celebrating Fibromyalgia Awareness Month. And for this week, I really wanted to show the importance of mental health during your chronic illness acceptance journey. And since this month is also Mental Health Awareness Month, I really wanted to show some informative facts and also some ways that I've dealt with it personally. So in yesterday's video, I talked about depression. I did go over some informative statistics, what the definition of clinical depression is, how to deal with it, and how it affects individuals with chronic illness. And the format, for the most part, I did like, but I felt that there's so much to talk about when it comes to mental health. So in this video, I will put statistical facts throughout the video, but just random bursts of statistical information. So for anxiety, it is, to me, it's extremely difficult to explain for somebody that does have a severe form of anxiety. And you can also have a mild form and still experience anxiety symptoms. But for somebody who doesn't or hasn't experienced the severe side of anxiety or the mild side of anxiety, it is really hard to explain it. Just for a brief explanation of what it is, it's a worried sensation, of fearful sensation. It does fall into the fight or flight. That, let's say you just go into a room and immediately you start trembling, you start worrying, you start feeling a sense of paranoia, and it's the flight or fight response, meaning that you either need to get out or you're gonna fight somebody, whatever that looks like. And for individuals who do have a severe form of anxiety, that usually just happens in the morning. That usually just happens at random throughout the day, and you just have to sit it out. I wish I could show you what that looks like coming from me, how my anxiety just comes, but you're already seeing it. Me talking to you is making me sweat. You can't see that, but you're seeing somebody who's going through a mild form of anxiety as of right now. I am sweating. I am cutting out parts where I start stuttering. I do have a past of stuttering, not as severe as most people, but it's just when it comes out whenever I become scared or fearful or worried that I might say the wrong thing to the wrong form of audience. But anxiety, it's just a roller coaster that you can't get off of. Your body starts producing an immense amount of sweat, or it starts trembling, and during this roller coaster ride, you really want to get off, because you can't stop it, or you feel like you can't stop it without doing something about it. And what does that about it look like? Well, that looks like fixing stuff. If you've always been a doer, you're gonna go outside and start planting, or if you don't have a green thumb, you're gonna start looking for things that you can do inside. Like my mom would always tell me that she would clean because it would calm down her anxiety and also help with the depression aspect of it, because it takes you away from the thinking part. And as for me, sometimes I can't do those simplistic, things to get your mind off. So what I do is look at YouTube videos, especially on days when I can't be up and about. I can't simply just hold things. I get on my computer, since it does stand by itself. I get on my computer and I just start watching YouTube videos, and I start thinking of ways to modify my own channel. And that, I know that can't be said for everybody else, so I'm gonna backtrack. And before I started this YouTube channel, I would lay down or sit down. I would lay down and take a nap if I needed it. I understand prior to taking a nap, you're gonna feel like, what a waste of time. Alex, you should be doing something. Like, we need to do something. We need to calm down this feeling. And you need to intervene between the mental illness and yourself. Because, like I said in the other video, you are not your mental illness. You will never be your mental illness. When you look up the word anxiety, depression, PTSD, it does not show your name under it. It doesn't. You are not a part of the mental illness. You just have it. But that does not define you. You have to work around it just as much as we are going to have to work around our chronic illness. And even more so with anxiety, because anxiety stresses you the hell out. It stresses you out physiologically. And I'll put up the definition of what that word means. But it stresses you out. Therefore, your nerves are starting to feel that. Your muscles are starting to tighten. Chemicals, hormones are fluctuating. And with somebody who does have fibromyalgia, that's already imbalanced. Your body is completely imbalanced, and all it's trying to do is trying to function. And that's why it flares up, because this immense amount of stress, this tightening sensation, this worrying, this fearful, this flight or flight response with all the adrenaline rushing throughout your body, is like, all right, like we cannot function like this, honey. I can't. You know what? I'm out. Fibro, do your thing. I'm done. And your body just reacts. And therefore, you have to take on, not only are you shaking, not only are you on the verge of having a panic attack, now you're thinking through this worrisome episode that you're having. You're going to have to deal with the consequences, and the consequences are not your fault. They're ultimately not your fault. But the consequences are a flare-up. You just got over a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and you're on the floor. Usually, I end up on the floor whenever I have a panic attack. That allows my dog, because she usually comes to calm me down. She comes over and she starts nibbling on my hand so I can start petting her. And especially more so because my body is going to start hurting, like really, really bad. What I usually want to do is start digging my nails into my skin. And it's not to self-harm myself, it's just reaction that I have. A lot of people form a fist, or like I had said, they start sweating profusely. And these are actions that you honestly, you cannot control. You're going through it and you're just like, stop. I'm just gonna use myself as an example. Alex, stop. Alex, it's okay. Alex, you're constantly just having to give these positive affirmations or positive thoughts, because the negative are just overflowing and you just want it to stop. Like right now, talking about anxiety, it's getting me anxious because the feeling is so scary and your body immediately starts reacting. It's like, okay, are we though? Are we gonna have one right now? Like we need to prepare. So my body is already starting to prepare itself to combat these emotions that I'm gonna start having. And so during this time when I wanted to just calm myself, I had to try to fingertips into my arm, because it has been severe enough to where I've cut myself. I've left irritated skin marks, you know, like feelings that you're having at that moment aside from these subconscious reactions that you're having, your body is also trying to catch its breath. I think that is the most difficult to do when you are having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, because they do tell you to breathe in and out. If you know how it feels to have a full-blown panic attack, you start breathing really rapidly and you start feeling lightheaded, you start feeling really, really, really weak, and you're on the point of passing out. So what I started doing, I know at the moment you don't want to do it, but what really calms my mind down is when I start focusing on my breath. I'm not saying that's easy for everybody. A suicide survivor, he had said, inhale 4, exhale 8. Constant bringing yourself down to reality, to where you are right now. I know reality, for whatever reason, is not okay right now, but the only thing you can control is yourself. Even though you might be thinking like, yeah, I wish I could control myself. I get that. It's like when somebody tells you, oh, well, stop thinking about it. I wish I could. I genuinely wish I could, but I can't. It's like anxiety. Oh, stop feeling that. You think I like feeling this rapid shaking in my body? Do you think I like my eye twitching? Like, do you think I like hyperventilating to the point of passing out? I don't. I really don't. You are the only thing that you can control. You can't control your environment majority of the time. So this whole transition into a different lifestyle, that also really affects you not knowing what the hell to do, what the hell's going on. So like, let's say when I had left my hometown was hard because I was constantly having anxiety attacks. I was constantly having panic attacks. The severity of each of them were mind-blowing. Not a lot of people who are transitioning into a different period of their life will experience these type of severe forms of anxiety. It might be different for everybody. So for me, since I had just recently developed fibro and PTSD, I was still in this growing phase of trying to understand who I was, what I was now, how to deal with that. The paranoia influenced a lot of my anxiety. And then what happens with anxiety? It stresses you out. Stressor stresses my fibro out, and it's not okay. It's not a good day. So how to go around those things, how to deal with it, especially such a low point of your life. That looks different for everybody. If you do have the chance to go to therapy because you're in college, because you do have the insurance to go to a therapist, or you can go through a nonprofit, or you can find some sort of help, counseling, call up a hotline, anything that you can do for yourself mentally, do it. Pause, right? So when I'm telling you to go to therapy, that's already making you feel anxious to do. You don't want to do it. I know that. I felt that. And I still feel that to this day. Because I was in college for 2 years prior to my trauma. And I stopped going because my anxiety told me, no. We're not going to deal with this. We're not going to look into the subconscious. We're not going to talk about feelings. I don't want to deal with it. All right? It's like getting invited to a party and you not wanting to be there. You start feeling your body starting to sweat, starting to shake a little bit. Your hands start shaking, your arms start shaking. So you not wanting to deal with it because there is a lot of people. It's like your emotions is a lot, and you're not gonna want to deal with that. After I started going to school here, I needed to go get help, and I reached out to a professor of mine and I said, I need help. I'm not gonna go get help. I know myself very well. I don't want help, but I need it. And that's something we all have to accept, that we do need help. There are underlying factors that we've yet to talk about. It doesn't even need to be an emotional impact in your life. It's just what you have. By going to get some help, it will bring you back to the present. It will truly make you feel like you're not insane, because you're not. You're watching my video, and I'm somebody who also deals with anxiety, severe anxiety. I've had my journey on accepting all of these mental illnesses that I have and living with them. Like I said, I am not my mental illness. I am who I am. For all of you who are watching and who deal with this mental illness, and if you're in bed and having one because you're just having an awful day, or if you're at work and you get triggered and now your body is shaking, drop everything, go to the bathroom. I've done it multiple times. Yesterday did get in trouble. I'm a cashier. I can't leave my post. I can't leave my position. But you need to take care of yourself. Anybody who is bound to something at the moment and cannot take care of themselves, there is no shame on tearing up, on crying. If you're a college student or an adolescent watching this video, I want you to know that you can leave wherever you are and go to the bathroom and cry. Reach out to a professor. Reach out with the professor that you feel comfortable to. Reach out to a teacher that you feel comfortable to. Reach out to a friend that you feel comfortable to in the disability center at your college. Whatever college you're going to or university that you're going to, they'll ask you what you want to do. So do you want the professor to record certain things, or like to help you out? All they're there for is to help you. That truly made me feel a certain way that I had just never thought I could feel, because I don't like help, and for the longest time I had been struggling with it. But you have to accept that you do need help. I didn't have these techniques on how to control these emotions that I was feeling, that my body was feeling. Even though that I had anxiety my entire life, these were big jumps of my life. These were life-changing, pretty much. Nobody else around you, not think, can make you believe that you don't want to do it. One of my ignorant brothers, when I had my first full-blown flare-up, how I couldn't move. I could not move. My mom was there sitting by me, and I was telling her that I'm in so much pain. I couldn't even close my hand. And he comes and he's just like, oh, you're just faking it. Get up. And for anybody who has heard that ever, I wish I was faking it. Go to a rheumatologist. Don't waste your time on these doctors and paying an insane amount of money to get tested for something that you cannot see. Somebody who's dealing with a chronic illness in their younger years, it's going to be harder to get a doctor to tell you, yeah, go to a rheumatologist. But don't wait. You're going to have to change. And I know it's going to feel extremely ugly, extremely difficult, extremely scary to go about this journey, but there's no way around it. And if you truly can't handle this anxiety, talk to your therapist, talk to somebody about getting medication. And if you're scared about getting medication, and especially if you have anxiety, you have to accept that one pill isn't for everybody, and it might even make you more anxious. I know that sounds extremely scary, and it's just like, why the hell am I gonna go through that? And it changed my life. But medication can be a last attempt of having a stable life. You guys are strong. I know this isn't a fun journey, wherever you are in it. I know there's a lot of anxiety and depression behind it, and more. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any feedback in the description box below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys.